about regular verbs and conjugating regular verbs. However, we do have exceptions to the rules in Spanish, which are called irregular verbs. Tener, which means to have, and venir, which is to come, are two such verbs that you're going to have exceptions to the rules of conjugation with. So with tener, what's most, I think, visible is you've got tengo. So you have a G that's randomly thrown in there, but then the G doesn't carry through the rest of the conjugations. If you look at venir, it's going to have the same thing. You're going to have that G that pops up with vengo, but then all the rest of the conjugations are falling in line with our typical expectation for these verbs. So typically in Spanish, you will have clusters of exceptions to the rule that will have a similar ending process, and you can sort of study in groups together to help remember. The endings here are going to be the same as those regular forms, just with the exception of yo. So there are other different cases of irregular verbs, but these are just the two that we're looking at in this lesson. And just like this in the examples, you can see in the tu form, the E of the stem for venir and tener changes for that form. So you'll notice the ending is still what we expect, but instead of being tene, we have tiene with the IE. Instead of vene, we have vienes. So the E goes to IE in addition to that G happening here. So here we're just looking at the endings, but when we start looking at that E to IE process, you should also take note of that with the irregularities. Only the nosotros and vosotros forms are going to be regular. All the other ones are going to have either an ending change or a stem change in the stem of the word. If we compare this to what we know about comer and escribir, then we can look at tenemos, comemos, venimos, look at that I, escribimos. Tenéis, coméis, venéis, escribes. So you're going to see those irregularities cropping up there with those two verbs. In certain idiomatic or set expressions in Spanish, we say tener plus a noun that it's going to express to be something. This chart contains a list of the most common expressions with tener. So things like to be so old, to be hot, to be careful, to be cold, to be hungry. So tener, when we're adding to those pieces, is going to do that. So tienen hambre, ustedes is are you hungry? So in English it would be are you hungry, but here we're saying to be hungry, but we're asking it in an inquisitive form. To express an obligation, we would say tener que with the infinitive of the verb. So que tienes que estudiar. Estudiar is not conjugated. It is left in the infinitive form, so to have to study. Tengo que estudiar, I have to study biology. Notice it's not I have what study biology. We're combining tener and que to give us an obligation with the infinitive at the end. If you want to take this to ask people if they feel like doing something, I can then phrase it as a question. So, ¿tienes ganas de comer? Do you feel like eating? No, tengo ganas de dormir. No, I feel like sleeping. So, tener ganas de means to feel like. So, do you feel like doing comer, venir, any of those verbs, escribir, estudiar? Do you feel like studying? Tener ganas de estudiar. So that's going to be a difference in tener que and tener ganas.